John Maczko. We interviewed him previously in 2005 for the documentary. For those of you who don't know, he's a real estate developer, and I don't mention this in the movie, but he's also an actor as well.
My pleasure of getting out there working in featured films and television.
So what have you been up to since we've last talked?
In the last few years, I took one of the projects I had at 23 Henry Street, which was a 5-story, 30,000 square foot building on the corner of State and Henry Street, and I sold that after owning it for 20 years. So that's a big move. When you start spinning something out, you held for something. I also just sold something at 101 Court Street. And sometimes I mention about the sales because, you know, it's a great idea to be a developer and create a portfolio, but I also think it's that, you know, the other end of it is, do you spin it, take a profit, and maybe move into something else? It's sort of like building these offices in here. You know, we come up and he said we're going to build some new offices here, and you know, the next thing is to look for some other buildings to purchase. So it's nice to create a portfolio, to keep a portfolio active, but truthfully, it's nice to spin a few things and to keep moving on that end.
Now, when we first saw each other, you were working on renovating a building on Washington Street for loft space, and it's also in the film. When did you finish the buildings, and what kind of success have you had with them?
You know what? The buildings that I've been working on lately, I finished up 101 Court Street. I tore off the face of the building, literally tore off 14 foot from ground floor, 14 foot up, 25 feet wide, tore the entire envelope out, built an entire new facade in there, and put a beautiful coffee shop in there, and rented it out to Lavaggio's coffee shop. They're very successful. It's a roasteria. So we finished up that building, and since we last spoke, I purchased a building over on the river, over at 96 Front Street, in which we put a new facade in there and dressed that entire facility up, and that was pretty nice, to be honest with you. So we had a great time doing the riverfront building and doing, just creating a new facade over there. You know, I think the first Friday, we've had some local artists here that were outstanding artists, very creative, and really, truthfully, talented artists. And I don't mean talented for our Broome County, but talented in the world of being of an artistry. And some of our artists have really made some beautiful impacts on First Fridays. We have a lot of people coming in. We've got an artist row over there with wonderful artists doing great things. So I think what it's done is bring a lot of 30-somethings, 40-somethings, 50-somethings, 60-somethings age group into downtown with a husband and wife, a boyfriend and girlfriend, friends coming down to take a walk through these different venues for food, for artwork. And it's really been a real positive thing happening in terms of what's going on to bring people into the community. Inclusive in that, back to your forte of real estate, you also find downtown lofts for professionals of people wanting to live in downtown. So a few years ago when you were here, it was just beginning, but I think it's starting to snowball a little bit where downtown is a great community for student housing, but it's also now becoming a great community for professionals. Because our students, the state university students, are absolutely outstanding. They're a huge asset for our community, and I mean, they're one of the few corporations that continue to escalate, build great academics, great students, great intellectual level, great artist level. The state university is huge, and the development that they're bringing into downtown has been really nothing short of outstanding. And so I think we need to continue to cater to the students downtown, and I think we need to continue to cater to the professionals downtown, and the politicians need to continue to work with the developers to keep the real estate taxes down to a reasonable amount. So further development could go, and now you create a place that everybody wants to go, and the places all fill up. Now after they're all filled up, then you could see some building escalation in real estate taxes. But I think your First Fridays that you talk about has been a big success.
You know, there was a lot of, okay, we're renovating, so on and so forth, but now it's starting to be like it's starting to fulfill its promise.
Yes, I think so. It's starting to fulfill its promise, but remember, anytime you got the train going down the track, it still needs fuel. So if you deplete its fuel, you could derail a train. So if you got the train going down the track, or you got real estate going forward in a positive direction, and real estate properties escalate unfavorably, unreasonably, you now could create more vacancies and less of an advantage for developers to want to come around. So it really takes a hand-in-hand working with the politicians, with the developers, to continue on a positive note. And I know I continue to re-mention, but remember, real estate taxes, insurances, fixed costs of utilities are the things that help make or help break real estate development and assessments.
One final question is, are you planning on continuing to develop properties? Are you gonna try some other new things in the future?
Well, I'm going to continue to develop. I am going to continue. And in the last 25 years, or 25 plus years that I've been a developer in downtown, I've probably purchased about 26 properties, buildings and pieces of land. 26 right here in downtown. I grew up on a place called Pine and Liberty Street, just 3 blocks away. So, have you been there?
Yeah.
It's a pretty, never much of a very wealthy community, you know, very poor, but we were very rich in terms of family spirit and unity. So, being 3 blocks away from where I grew up, and to know that I've purchased 26 buildings and properties here, it's sort of exciting. So this is going to remain my hometown. I'm going to continue to support the politicians, continue to support the developers, because my goal isn't to be the biggest and baddest. My goal is to be the best I can be, have some wonderful spaces. I'm going to continue to work on a couple of properties that I have to fill them up, and I'm going to look for some new acquisitions too. So we're going to keep moving forward and stay involved. Maybe till I'm about 90.
Sounds good.
What do you think about that one?
My grandma just turned 90 this past September,
Well, then that means when I'm 90, you could come down and continue to interview me.
Yes.
As we're making acquisitions and
Let's
design.
see, by then I would be in my 60s by
That's
then.
not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. We could pull this off. We could make this happen. So that's it. A lot of good things happening in bingo land.
Yes.
Bingo, B-I-N-G-O.
Absolutely.
B-I-N-G-O, 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 and
bingo was its name. Oh.
there you have it. So we're going to keep rolling forward. First Fridays, entertainment, artwork, real estate, and we're going to move forward.
Yes.